Hello, everyone, again, and good afternoon from Dubai. I'm very happy to be moderating this panel about education technology and digital play. My name is Katia al-Kaisi. I'm founder and CEO of Education House Finland, based out of Dubai. I have some really great colleagues here to discuss about the topic, and I would like them to introduce themselves. So I would start with Sajida, if you can kindly introduce yourself and what you do.
Assalamu alaikum, marhaba, and hello. My name is Sajida al-Bashir. I will be the head of Arabic and Islamic at Royal Grammar Guildford School in Dubai for next year, and a member of the senior leadership team at RGS. I hold a Master's of Education from the American University in Dubai, and I have been an educator for the last 24 years.
Thank you very much, Sajida. Jeffery?
I'm Jeff Coupe. I'm Director of Education at Alef Education here in Abu Dhabi. I've been here in the United Arab Emirates for 2 years now. I'm coming from international education background with project management and technical experience in a number of areas of education. And I'm a history, social studies teacher and social science person. So that's my background.
Thanks a lot, Jeff, and welcome to the panel. Riku, all the way from sunny Finland.
Yes, straight from Helsinki. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. And actually, we share with the same background with Jeff. So I have a history teacher background. So I've been teaching history in one of the upper secondary schools in Helsinki for 20 years. But actually, it was about 10 years ago when I was still teaching, and then I got the idea of founding a company specialized in gamification. So now I'm a founder and CEO of Seppo, a Helsinki-based EdTech company.
Thanks, Riku, and happy to have you here. So, EdTech, education technology, we talk a lot about it. Of course, we were thrown and faced into it, even if we didn't like to over the past year. But Sajida, why use EdTech in school, and what is EdTech? Tell us from an educational leadership perspective.
Great question, Katia. To start with is to define EdTech. I look at EdTech as the practice of introducing IT tools into the classroom to create a more engaging and inclusive and individualized learning experience for our students. Now, why to use it? Come on, the whole world speaks technology now, especially after what COVID-19 has brought us. So I would say that we use EdTech in classes because it incorporates different learning styles. I have students in my classes which they wish to use technology more than speaking in the class in front of everyone because their needs are different and their learning styles are different. It also creates a more engaged environment inside the class. It's like a buzz inside the class, more than the traditional teaching 50 years ago or 20 years ago, where the teacher is standing for like an hour talking and the students are bored. It's basically does our job, but in a better way. Also, it improves collaboration. Many teachers have reported that their students love to work with others and their peers because technology allows them to do that. And of course, it prepares our children for the future. As I said, the whole world speaks technology, and you don't want your students to fall behind of everyone else.
Thank you, Sajida. So, Jeff, would you like to add on that from of course, an educator background, but also working Alef is the leader in UAE when it comes to education technology done locally. So, what's your perspective on why EdTech?
Well, I think EdTech is important for student engagement and enables a more personalized educational experience. And Alef Education is striving to to personalize the experience more and more, and to enable students to learn at their own pace. In addition, we're also working to develop the analytics and the assessment tools that will enable students and teachers to understand the level of mastery that students have of skills and competencies. So I think that's a big draw for technology, and I do want to Katia address the idea of engagement that Sajida mentioned regarding the theme of play, and at its best, when technology is used effectively, you would hope that students would gain a sense of enjoyment, that they would be in a zone that I'm going to get his name wrong, Shitsamantaya calls flow, where students are so engaged and so immersed in the learning tasks that they're provided that they lose a sense of time. They're so engrossed and so interested in what they're learning and so engaged that they concentrate on tasks, fully immersed in learning, and they've set goals for themselves. And there's a match between challenges, the skills they have, and the challenges that they're confronted with. And when you get all those things right, and I think technology can help do that, then you've got a really good recipe for good pedagogy.
Yeah, and I guess like you mentioned challenge. Like if you look at when you're playing a game, for example, or what are you doing 90% of the time? You're failing, right? But nobody thinks about it that way. The game would be really boring if you would be just winning and going through all the stages, and that's it. I mean, you wouldn't. I've seen a lot of students in platforms where you can, for example, choose. Sometimes you can choose like the level of is it hard or easy or moderate. Most students choose the hard one first, and then they go lower. So it's not like you just want to go through things. So and also, I guess like technology will never like get frustrated at you or angry at you, no matter how many times you try, right? So I think like with my work with EdTech that has come through a lot. Riku, you want to build up upon what Jess said about the state of flow, about the playfulness. I mean, you're the pioneer in Finland when it comes to gamification of learning. Like when we talk gamification, it's Seppo, and for you, it started from a real story as well. So how do you see that, and how do you see that from the points of engagement from your perspective?
Yeah, Katia. Yeah, before going to that, so I want to highlight as a kind of a CEO of EdTech company that, okay, I think that technology can never replace the kind of the social relationship between the teacher and the student. So that's kind of the starting point. But definitely we need to have kind of many ways to engage and motivate the students and be present there. If we can be present in the classroom, so the technology can help us to kind of build the bridge between the teacher and the student. So that's really important thing. But yeah, when to actual the question, I think that some people think that, hey, gamification is something like multiple choice quizzes or having a test at that what you have learned. So how we see ourselves is kind of a gamification is kind of a boosting your creativity. For example, it's a bit different than when we talk about games or gamification. Gamification means that, okay, we are using game-like elements, game mechanics to boost the learning. So how we see at Seppo is that what are the best parts of gamification is that, okay, we boost the kind of we enable we support the student to be creativity to kind of to be creative, to kind of test your limits, to kind of try risk, take risk, and then fail, like you mentioned, fail safely in the game. Try again and try your limits, and then when you succeed, you get the feeling, yes, I was good, and I'm ready to move forward. And what is the kind of one good part of gamification is that, okay, yeah, we in a game, with games, you can make the progress visual. So you can see that, okay, now I'm achieving. So, and levels is a good example of that. So you enter to the next level. That means in a kind of a pedagogical terms, it means that you get more challenging exercises, and then you are really kind of a progressing somewhere. So it's not kind of just exercise after exercise, but you are kind of climbing the stairs and moving higher in the process. So that's kind of the big thing, gamification.
So so going back to what Jeff said about the challenge-based learning, right? So
yeah,
not pure play, or what do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, not pure play in that sense. We would want to foster self-directedness and sort of orient the games towards the goals that students hold for themselves, so that they can create meaning through their engagement in the games, and not necessarily just simply clicking through, as Riku said, a number of questions. I mean, game-based learning can be good for fluency, for fluidity, some conceptual and procedural knowledge, but by and large, there is a risk of sort of sacrificing the broader gamification for short-term enjoyment, I guess. So I fully agree with Rico's comments on gamification.
And then if you think about when people feel themselves motivated, so it kind of when you have the autonomy of, you can do individual choices, you can decide what you do next. So that's kind of one part of being motivated. And then, like Jeff mentioned about, if there's a relatedness to your kind of a normal life. So usually we are solving a real world problem in a game. So that makes really you are motivated and engaged. And then if you kind of it's also kind of getting feedback that, hey, in a positive way. So we are not in a game like Katia you mentioned. So in a game you are not marking down the kind of the errors you did, but you're kind of you are supporting and kind of hey, you failed. Who cares? Move forward and try again. So that's the big difference.
And you kind of remember your successes, right? I play a lot of online backgammon, and I kind of just remember the ones I won in. But I think I've gotten much better at backgammon. So anyway, Sajida, do you want to comment on using games in the classroom? I know you've done that with Islamic studies, River.
It's with Islamic and Arabic and social studies. You can't imagine the joy we had inside the class and outside the class. These platforms allowed me to contact with my students even during the holidays. They still want to do it. And whatever you do to get the attention of the students, nothing can be compared to gamification and the way that the teachers introduce these platforms. But my only advice for teachers before using these applications or these platforms is to know why you're using it and how you're using it and with whom you're using it. Because the minute that you realize that you are getting the whole world in front of your students, they will appreciate it. And the time you put as educator in preparing these games and preparing these activities, it takes a huge amount of time. And you need to be really focused while you are setting up these games. For me, my students, they love it. And when I see their reaction, their smile, their energy, the buzz around the school, not only around the class, it's worth it, to be honest.
Thank you. We have... Yes, sorry, Jeff, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say that some differentiate between game-based learning and gamification. And game-based learning, we have some features in the Alef platform that for key term games and for assessment-like games. And I think in the hands of a skillful teacher, those can be used for. Those could be reteaching moments. They can be used for reflection. They can foster deep learning, but if skillfully integrated into teaching and learning,
So we have a live poll going on. If you can see on the left hand side, any comments on that from Riku, your side, for example, I guess. So for the audience, if you would want to give your vote, you can give theirs. So yeah, definitely, engagement and motivation seems to be the biggest one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of that is good thing. But then also in Finland, kind of a formative assessment is really hot topic, and actually for that gamification is really good tool as well. And one thing that I would like to highlight that why do you use gamification is that kind of there are a lot of people who are underachieving in the classroom, so you are not doing your best in front of the others. So maybe, of course, why you are underperforming in the classroom, there are many reasons for that. So maybe some are kind of are not motivated. So the level of the class is kind of is too low for them. They would like to aim higher. But if you do it in a classroom, that sometimes personalized learning is not easy task for the teacher to do. And then, of course, there might be some might have problems at home, and or with the parents or whatever, and then there are some students who are kind of lagging behind because of they have learning difficulties or something like that. I think that game-based learning, gamification using technology really can enable those people to do better than in the classroom situation without technology. And as already spoken before, so I think that kind of a technology enables with you, if, for example, if you have a dyslexia, so if you can express what you have learned in a multiple ways, like showing what you have learned in a video or in an audio, not just typing text if you have difficulties. And I think that the main part of using technology is to kind of give everybody kind of a positive learning experience. So it's not actually, to be honest, it's not so important what you have learned, but giving you the positive feeling of that now I'm learning something and I'm ready to learn. I'm eager to learn more. So that's kind of one of the best things that technology hopefully can offer for everyone.
It's the student's voice, isn't it? And it's a big topic that everyone now realize how important these kids, as you said, Riku, it's like the underachieving students, but also those they are gifted and talented, because these two categories, at some point, if the teacher doesn't have a full knowledge of the needs and the skills that his students have, you will lose the track. With the gifted and talented students and the underachievement ones. So technology allows you as a teacher to create these opportunities and to see. You just put it in front of them and see how they will deal with it.
And I had, sorry, Katia, had heard some comments during the lockdown here a year ago from Finland when everybody needs to be kind of for online learning. So some teachers came to me and said that, hey, I have never noticed that, hey, these beautiful young children, they have these capabilities, because they were never shown in the classroom situations. But now when they are, somebody might be even very shy in the classroom, but when you can do it alone with the teacher or with an online situation, so they are blooming and new capabilities come up on daily basis.
True. Which kind of brings us exactly to the topic of distance learning. So today we've been reflecting a lot about the previous year, but what has really shown and what have we learned about distance learning and EdTech and best ways to do that? Jeff, would you like to comment on that?
I think what we're learning is that as Riku said earlier, that the teacher is very important in facilitating teaching and learning in the classroom. Technology, I think, is a great support, and when blended, when teacher, technology, artificial intelligence, etc., enhance that learning experience, then wonderful things can happen. in the last panel, many people mentioned the importance of communication and keeping connected, and I think as well the sort of the collaboration, the communication tools. I think teachers have been exploring those more and more and found effective uses, and I think as well that we're learning about a lot about the way to design better for equity in the classroom, and it's been a challenge this year, to be frank, and everybody understands that access is not universally guaranteed. And I think it just is challenging us to design with differentiation, with universal design for learning, with thinking of providing teachers as well with opportunities to create or post content. For example, in Alef, to create assignments that reach that wide diversity of students when they're not there in person. And so it's been an interesting year, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to comment on from Finland's perspective, Riku? Like you mentioned that some kids also bloomed and all that during the past year. Like, has there been any challenges or other learnings from terms of using technology and distance learning?
Well, I think that kind of one topic, it's the both. I think the same situation with the schools and also in the corporate learning. I think that the one of the big topics is that the kind of equality to get access to the learning material. So I think that who has the laptops, who has the kind of internet at home. But that's why we have been also concentrating on kind of mobile devices. I definitely think that in terms of accessibility, so all the materials should be kind of a low tech kind of platforms, and so if you have for little kids, if you have an own phone, so that should be enough to kind of take part on the learning experience, and if you think about how that's also kind of in terms of motivation. So it's really important issue that how the young people are using their mobile devices after school. So they have a kind of tons of applications that they are using, and they are learning all the time after school by using those applications. So learning happens everywhere. So I think that it's really important to kind of take part in the serious learning circumstances, kind of the ways that people are learning after school. And most of that learning is related somehow to the mobile devices and the applications they are using it after school. So that's why we at Seppo actually we have built a kind of a possibility for the students, like they can answer with videos and they can answer with audio files and they can answer with pictures. So using their devices in the same way that they are doing after school. So that also makes kind of learning much more personal, and it also kind of supports you to be more creative, and that's also kind of a learning curve for us teachers to accept that, hey, those young kids, they can be creative and they can really do the problem solving when you give them the tools to be creative. I think that's really important to take away. And then one topic, actually, what I think it's a bit different. Maybe Sajida can tell a bit more about that. But I think that in Finland, so we definitely have a kind of a close relationship with the school and the parents. So, and I think that somehow technology can help to reach out for those parents who normally don't come to the parents' evenings. So usually it's the kind of a good students, parents that are come to the school and visit the teacher. But I don't know, Sajida, do you have some similar kind of opinions about that?
That's very true, Riku. It's the technology brought the whole family, actually, not only the parents, the whole family into our classrooms. Even the understanding of the word classroom, it's not only these four walls, which the teacher and the students, the classroom as understanding, it has expanded after COVID-19 started last year. So I would be teaching my students and his mother or her father just behind the screen, listening to what we're doing. So it actually brought the whole family into our process of teaching, and these kids and how they grew actually, and they progress throughout the year. In terms of meeting the parents, to be honest, like technology allowed us as teachers to meet the parents rather, because before technology or before COVID-19, we used to have these parents' evenings in the evenings, and the parents should come to school to see the teachers. Now with using the platforms allowed us as teachers and school community to meet everyone. Because they just need to open their devices and meet us. And that actually one of the really good benefits of teaching, of using technology, is that we could reach everyone and everyone can reach us.
I mean, look at us today, right? We're all here from all over Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Helsinki, and everywhere. And I mentioned earlier, I saw in the chat there are people registered from the Bahamas, from all over the place. So wow. So definitely like these kind of opportunities. But I guess it's not only, I mean, there's a lot of talk with technology about screen time, your eyes, your neck. We know that personally, and in general, like, does it make us, not only children, like everyone, more passive? So, what do we see as the downsides of using EdTech, and how could we perhaps tackle that? Like, who would want to start? Would you want to, Sajida, comment on that one?
I will be very biased here because I'm a mother and also I'm a teacher. My little one, who is early in year 2, the amount of screen time he has now since last year is massive. And I can see it does affect his sleeping, it does affect his attention and his skills. Yes, he is doing a great job. He's learning. He's using his device very well. But also, as you said, Katia, not the whole story is a sweet story. We do have some problems with the amount of screen time that these kids are exposed to. However, part of using technology in schools is to, as I said, to create opportunities for our students. So us as a school, we have designed many activities for our students. They don't need a screen in front of them. And to get them back to have a book, a physical book, not only Kindle, like to have a physical book between their hands, and they can just read and enjoy and talk, etc. So yes, there is many positive things behind technology, but also there is also some problems and some challenges that us as educators, we need to look at it, not only for the benefits of our students, but also for our well-being and our students' well-being as well.
Yeah, maybe to continue on that. So I think that if you think about the kind of a life with my youngest son is now in the first grade in the upper secondary, and he has been in remote learning most of the year. And actually, his days are, to be honest, they are quite boring. So staring the laptop all day long. So it really makes you passive and kind of sometimes. But it's really also boring for the teacher, and it's really hard job for the teachers. They don't have their cameras on, so the teacher is staring at the kind of the black screen with with only initials showing on the screen of their students. So we need to have some structure in the day, and how I see that, the kind of what does the structure mean, that okay, activate your body somehow, do kind of not just stare at the laptop, that take your phone and you can also listen to the kind of, if you need to listen to the teacher, you can take a walk on the same time and go out there and use your imagination. But we need to, as teachers, actually, I think that we need to encourage the students to be active as well, and not just lay on their beds and take a look on the team session, what is going on there. But how we see, actually, I hear that quite often, that okay, why the kids are playing so much games after school. Why do they have to play during the school day as well? So I think that for us, the gamification is to show people that you can be active and participate in a game, and not just kind of not passively join the game and lay on the sofa. So what we try to do with Seppo is to kind of boost the active learning, and then just make a documentary video what you have learned, not just kind of staring all the time the device, the laptop or the phone. So create something, be active, and just use the technology to do kind of document what you have learned and what you have done.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'll take this one too. I think I'll try to link it back to challenge-based learning and play. But so in Alef, we design experiential lessons, which often involve challenges and experiments and the like. And I think students would benefit from having learning by doing, project-based experiences where they're engaged in building things and not building things in a virtual environment online necessarily all the time, although that could help with modeling, but are actually working with physical materials, testing out irrigation solutions using PVC pipe and playing with water, or working on robotics, but really trying to solve real world problems in sort of a challenge based setting and getting away from the computer. But as Riku said, nothing wrong with going to the computer or posting your artifacts or doing research, but not necessarily at every stage in your challenge based learning or your project-based learning that you're going to be in front of a computer 100% of the time. In fact, you should be out in community and all. And just in terms of personalization, it's really important. Sajida mentioned voice and choice. So this is really important for student growth and development, and so personalized learning, where students are pursuing their own goals and they have their own interests, and they have the choice of projects and ways to express their learning, I think is really important. And that's all sort of hard to organize within a virtual environment, in my view, because kids can go in any direction. They are creative, and they'll think of new ways of solving problems.
Yes, definitely. We could maybe reflect a little bit on the poll. We had a poll here going on about the obstacles in using technology in the classroom. So again, it goes in the end down to skills, and maybe connectivity comes as second here. So Sajida, as an educational leader, like, how do you see like the teacher skills and all that? Like how and I know you've studied your master's in recent years and worked a lot with technology, but what would you say to your colleagues about that and confidence in using and skills using technology in the classroom?
That's a great. If you allow me, I would give my advice to my colleagues, my fellow colleagues, as like, take the risk. You never know till you try it, isn't it? You will never know if that application or that platform or that way of teaching using technology will work or not. Try something new. Technology, as I said, it brought lots of excitement to the classroom, but also if you don't renew your skills and innovative skills and innovation skills, you will be trapped with lots of comments from your students. Oh, miss, again, are we going to do this again? You don't want to have these faces and these comments inside your classroom. You never really know how effective a tool or approach will be until you try it. Using technology in your classrooms also encourages critical thinking skills, the social skills. It's not only about learning, but also how they communicate with each other, how they show respect, how they reflect and socially, how they actually work together, how they approach each other, how they ask for help from someone inside the classroom with them. So my advice to my teachers and my colleagues is to try it. You never know. There is no wrong or right in using technology. You just try it. I always tell my students, I'm teaching you, but also I'm learning from you. So some of them are really profs in using technology. And when I don't know what to do, I just ask Bilal in year 7 to help me, to be honest.
Well, actually, yeah, I totally agree with you, Sajida. So I think that we are now coming to the point where we started, actually, because I think that nor kind of the use of technology or game-based learning or gamification should be an add-on in the classroom. So everything that we do there should have a meaning somehow, and technology or gamification, it's not to entertain the students, but you need to kind of there needs to be a meaning in all the things that we do, and a kind of learning new things for the teacher. That's one of the big things as well. So because lifelong learning is the new kind of theme of the world. So, but I think that if you have a good technology kind of EdTech solution, so it needs to be so easy for the teachers to use that, hey, you don't have to spend hours to learn how the platform works. So, and that if the platform doesn't work like that, then it's not a good solution. I definitely think that okay, all the EdTech solutions, they should be so well designed and so well so easy to use that okay, everybody can use that. And we have at Seppo, we have really put a lot of emphasis on that creating a game, it's easier than to create a PowerPoint presentation. So that's kind of the main goal for us. So to make the use of technology as easy as possible and as pedagogically sound as possible for the teachers.
That sounds really good, and yes, we should always be asking, no matter where we are, right? Like if you don't ask, you miss on so many things. We have a few minutes left, so I would like to take some questions from the audience. So if you have some questions, please post them in the questions tabs. Riku, Jeff, and Sajida will be available after this session for one-to-one, not one-to-one, but in a networking lounge. You can talk to them as well with specific questions. So there's, for example, specific questions about tools to use for Arabic Islamic and all that. I suggest you discuss with Sajida about that later on in that room. There is a questions about what is your take into EdTech enabling new types of learning strategies, instructional strategies, for example, flipped classroom. So would you, Jeff, like to comment on that one?
Yeah, technology enables a number of innovative practices that could be introduced. Flipped classroom is one. The advantage of that is that students are able to sort of front load their learning and take care of some of the, let's say, the anticipatory work before they get to the class, so that the teacher and students can really focus on the learning, on the doing, as opposed to lecturing or the initial prep work. So flipped learning is certainly something that those of us looking at self-pacing models and mastery learning, we look at that very closely, as well as for pre-teaching. For teaching and for reteaching. So technology can be used at any number of points in the instructional process for reinforcing skills or for remediating learning that hasn't taken place as planned. So there's so much flexibility now that technology affords, and it really enables the teacher to select the moments where they would like to use technology in the instructional sequence. So there's so much to say about that topic. So I'll let my colleagues chime in on this one.
Any comments from Riku or Sajida on this topic, or?
I think that as a teacher, you need to have mercy on yourself. So not you don't need to have all the solutions. You don't need to know how to use all the solutions. Just kind of pick the ones that you're going to try first, and then kind of expand your knowledge. And as a kind of a tech savvy teacher. So I'm sure that the kids, they love it if you try something new, like Sajida mentioned already. Maybe I totally agree on that. So you need to know, you don't need to know all the things, but just kind of start small and then expand in time your arsenal of technology.
Can I say that since we've started to use technology more and more since last year, the community that has been created by teachers themselves and the schools themselves, not only the teachers inside the same school, but also as a community of educators, and how great it was to many platforms offered a free trial for schools to try, and they don't have to pay for that platform or that application. That was really good and very generous from them. And I'm talking about people like you, Jeff, and Riku. When you have opened your arms to the teachers and the schools to try something new and to make it easier on teachers first and the students as well.
Yeah, I think one thing that it's really important, like I already mentioned about kind of having technology or gamification as an add-on. I think that it's really important that the technology is really close to the teacher. So actually, that's why we do have a kind of in Seppo we have an Arabic user interface. So there are a lot of games available that other teachers have created in Arabic. So I think that the best part of kind of using technology is that it's really close to your everyday life. So and you don't have to. You feel comfortable on both on the kind of the usability side and then on the content side. So that's kind of really important. And I'm really happy that we have been from the start. We have created Seppo for a bilingual solution platform that can be used in native Arabic studies as well by the Arabic teachers and the students.
I'll just say thank you. Yeah. I'll just say thank you for your kind words, Sajida. I think it was wonderful that the EdTech industry recognized that there was a crisis and needed to do something. I'm glad that it worked out that way, and that teachers learned a lot from being exposed to a multitude of tools out there.
Thank you.
We have a tough one, but it has come a couple of times. I don't have an answer to that. How do we tackle students who don't have access to devices, or that there is only like not a device per student? Like, I mean, I think situation in Finland and UAE is a bit better than rest of the world, but even here and in Finland, we have this issue. So any thoughts on that one?
Well, that's a tough one.
Yes, it is, unfortunately. We just reflected in the first panel how SDG 4 is unfortunately far behind, and a big part of it globally is because the lack of devices and lack to access to connectivity. So but is there a way, like, I guess that this is a room, I would personally think there is room for innovation here on how to actually do it. And maybe, as Riku mentioned, like to have it with the lowest possible kind of technology, cost of technology, like not to require laptops or something. Yeah.
I think that the kind of the form of or the shape of learning material is changing or has changed already. So when you 20 years ago, when you started school, so you were expected to have the books with you. At some point, I think that you are expected to have your device with you because that gives you an access to the learning materials. So it's somehow related to that. We are there kind of somewhere there in the middle, in the crossroads of, how do we define the learning material? Is it still the physical book, or is it a password to the learning platform where the materials are? So, and who needs to kind of provide that? Is it the school, or is it the government, or is it the parents? So, and in some cultures, it's still dealt differently, the question.
I think it's part of a moral responsibility upon our shoulders as teachers and educators and schools is to give multiple options for our students to access the material of the subjects, isn't it? Like even here in UAE, yes, they do have devices, but some students, they do struggle to use these devices. Mm-hmm. So for me as a teacher, my responsibility, and again, it's like my moral responsibility, is to give my students, like next week, I have a final exam with year 11s. I've told my students we will have it on paper, just like the old days, but also I will have an electronic copy for my students who are around the world. I have students joining my classes from Australia, Canada, United States. So yes, it's just to give that option for them to choose rather than just like tell them, well, you have to, because some of them, they really don't know how, or they are coming from a poor background where they don't have even device or internet or Wi-Fi connection.
Thank you, Sajida.
Yeah, I guess I'll build on both comments. I do see it more as a question of rights, and maybe we'll get there. I agree with Riku. It's like the textbook that was publicly provided to all students who enrolled in school, and we need new governance structures for that. I don't know if it would be constitutional in some countries, and maybe more moral in others. But I think we're going to quickly have to get there.
Yeah, I think one of the things this pandemic has brought is that connectivity is a basic right. Thank you very much for this discussion. For the audience, I saw there were some questions about possible platforms to use and all that. I would highly recommend you to either join the live rooms with the 3 speakers after this. They will be announced, and also visiting. There is a digital booth you can see on the top of Education Finland. That's the official government kind of body that represents all the Finnish education providers, and they might assist you in also telling you about possible solutions for your needs as well. But the next session will be about AI. That's starting 6:20. But in parallel, you can speak to Riku, Jeff, and Sajida in the networking rooms. So thank you very much for everyone who attended, and Ramadan Mubarak. We don't know, is it tomorrow or Wednesday, right?
Inshallah.
But, inshallah, yes. Tonight we will know, and enjoy Ramadan, and it's definitely going to be a better Ramadan than last year.
Inshallah. Ramadan Kareem, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, Katia.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, Sajida.
Bye.